You've heard of the troubles in the Stepstones?
Some Mirish prince is feeding Westerosi sailors to the crabs.
I have been petitioning the king to send my navy into the territory, but he's denied me.
It was never my brother's strongest trade.
What?
Being king.
The crab feeder is backed by powerful entities within the Free Cities who wish to see Westeros weakened. And the king's failures have allowed him to accumulate strength. If those shipping lanes fall, my house will be crippled. I will not have Driftmark beggared while our king idles himself with feasts and balls and tourneys.
I will speak of my brother as I wish. You will not.
Waiting in the Stepstones is a chance for you to prove your worth to any who might yet doubt it. We are the realm's second sons, Daemon. Our worth is not given. It must be made.
Welcome to the Unreal Hour.
Hi there, welcome to our show. I'm Fiona.
And I'm Emma. We're going to be covering episode 2 of House of the Dragon, season 1.
Yay.
So this episode's called The Rogue Prince.
It certainly was that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the episode was directed by Greg Yaitanes and it was written by Ryan Condal and Charmaine DeGrati. I have no idea if I'm pronouncing that right. If any listeners know any better, please let us know. So let's get into it. To start off, I think we should take a look at those opening credits.
Yeah.
Now, I remember when I saw this for the first time, I remember getting a general idea of, okay, right, it's about the blood, right? There's lots of blood going on here and fire and blood and all of that. And I was looking for fire. I was like, where's the fire? But I got a general idea that it was about bloodlines. But because we were doing this, I decided to go and have a wee look at it more in depth. And here's what I found. So I found actually an explanation of what those credits are about. So the bloodlines, it starts with Aegon the Conqueror. And then it flows into Rhaenys and Visenya. But as Visenya's line didn't go any further than Maegor, it takes off round the corner and follows Rhaenys' bloodline down to Aenys. And then Jaehaerys and Alysanne. And then you see the bit with Jaehaerys and Alysanne and it splits off into 9 separate bloodlines.
Oh, that's cool.
And then we follow 2 of them as they go over the edge of the cliff. And that would be Baelon and Alyssa. From the Baelon and Alyssa flows into 2 more, which is Viserys and Daemon.
Clever.
As you see Daemon and Viserys' bloodline, there's another one that's kind of equal to them. I believe that's supposed to be Rhaenys, and then her bloodline goes off and joins up with the Velaryons, but it's kind of in the distance. And then it goes back to Viserys' bloodline and his little sigil. Mm-hmm. And we follow the bloodline of Viserys and Emma Arryn. And before we see the blood flowing off to the right of the screen, we see this tiny little bloodline coming out the bottom left-hand corner and going off in a different direction. And that's supposed to represent his bloodline with Alicent.
All right, okay.
But and what we also see in the background of Viserys is this other bloodline floating about in the background, kind of hanging around behind him, like Otto Hightower.
All right, okay.
He's his shadow. So then it kind of zooms out a little bit and we see that bloodline flowing into the Alicent one. And then it goes back to Viserys' bloodline. So from the Emma Arryn bloodline, it flows into Rhaenyra and then the blood overflows and it goes under this bridge where there's a sigil of a dragon on it.
Right.
And then the camera zooms out again And what we see is that we're actually in Viserys' model of Valyria.
Oh, cool.
So that's the blood of old Valyria from Aegon the Conqueror right up into Rhaenyra. But I would imagine as the series goes on that might change slightly at the end because more...
Yeah, we'll have to keep an eye out for that.
Keep an eye out for changes towards the end of that. But yeah, so we've got that full model view, and of course it homes in on the Targaryen sigil. And I just thought it was really, really, really cool that because I never got it before. I was like, okay, it's about blood, right? I get that. But and I realized that these sigils were representing different people, but I wasn't entirely sure what until I actually read this description, and I'm like, right, that totally makes sense.
I feel like it's been so long since we've seen Game of Thrones also, and you hear that theme tune.
Yeah.
And you'd get kind of caught up in the music.
Yeah,
go,
definitely.
It's another cool opening scene. And then it's really cool that you've explained it. So now, episode 3, got to keep an eye out for that.
Definitely watch it. For those of you that have got the opportunity to do so right now, pause us, go watch that, and then come back to us. We're going to do the same. So we'll be right back in a sec. And we're back. That was very short, wasn't it?
That was really cool.
Excellent. So, what did you think? That was really awesome, wasn't it?
It is really awesome. It's really cool that it's running through old Valyria.
I know,
that's really awesome. The sigils are cool.
They are very cool. It is a bit confusing. I had to watch it a couple of times to pick up on the Alicent part. I think I watched it 3 times before I went, all right, I see it now.
Yeah.
Because it all happens so fast. But yeah, it's all there. And I was like, oh, cool. Everybody's in there. Everyone's represented. So I can't wait to see how that plays out as the series continues. But yeah, it's interesting, and it's cool now knowing what it means. Isn't it?
Yeah,
definitely. So now that we've broke down that little intro, let's get into the episode. Normally we talk about big CGI moments and things like that, visuals and stuff at this point, but there wasn't very much going on in that regard. It was all I felt it was very character based.
Yeah, which I mean is important.
Oh, definitely. And if you're going to do that, you're going to do that at the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
Get that all out the way. So, what did you think of the episode overall?
There's some awkward bits, but generally it was, one of those filler episodes.
It was.
And I'm not being mean because all the work that's gone into it, there was a point to setting that up.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
All of these relationships are, the watcher has a great understanding of how important all these relationships are when it comes to the point that the relationships break down.
Yes.
So there was a lot of quite moving moments.
I thought so.
The bit with Alicent and Rhaenyra talking about their mums being gone and being there for each other, that was really sweet.
It really was, yeah. It was a proper little bonding moment for them, and I think it was something Rhaenyra clearly needed.
She did, and it was nice, Alicent being there for her. You could really see that she related to her in a grieving daughter way.
Yeah, definitely.
And also having a father of high position.
Yeah, and that's definitely an issue.
I'm not as important as the decisions my father has to make, but I really need him to be there for me because I'm grieving. All of this duty that's there, it's sad.
It is very sad. I thought it was very, very touching to see them bond in that way. I don't want to get all Rage of Thrones and stuff like that. I read the fucking books, but they weren't close like that in the books. That was something you've mentioned in the last episode, wasn't it?
Yeah, they weren't, but I get it that it's not going to be as impactful.
No,
if we don't see these girls forming a bond, and I think it's probably going to be one of the last times that we see them having a bond.
Yes.
So it was important in the episode for us to see that as a real moment.
Yeah, I think it makes more of an impact that when everything all breaks down if they were close at one point. And that's what they've done with the show.
Absolutely. When you get to the point where, in the episode where Viserys says who he's going to marry,
Yeah.
and the look of betrayal on Rhaenyra's face is just, you can just see how
Absolutely.
devastated she is, because she's just opened up
Yeah.
to Alicent. She felt like she was just opening up to her father and him, her, and then she's hit with this bombshell. The two people she trusts most in the world
Yeah.
have really let her down and stabbed her in the back, as far as she feels.
I love that it was actually that she saw it 2 seconds before he said it.
Yeah.
And there was that moment where she sees this look between Viserys and Alicent, and she just flicks her head, and you just see the realization wash over her face, and she is not impressed. But yeah, it was everything. It wasn't just anger, it was hurt, it was betrayal. It was, poor girl. And she just started to bond with Alicent, and she just started to reconnect with her dad.
She doesn't have anyone.
I
Her
know.
uncle's off being a lunatic.
Oh, well, yeah. He is a bit, but we'll get into that in
We
a
will.
moment. So my personal thoughts on the episode were very similar to yourself. It was very fillerish. It was a bit slow. No, I don't think it was slow. I'm going to take that back. It wasn't slow. I was a little underwhelmed, maybe because there was no action. There was apart from that one scene, no really any dragons. I had to dig deep to find funny lines. All the funny lines were delivered through gritty teeth.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was all dialogue.
Yeah, I think filler's unfair. I'll take that back as well. It's a building.
It's character progression, isn't it? It's a deeper introduction into the characters that we got in the first episode, I suppose.
Yeah.
And of course, there's been a big 6-month time jump at this point from the first episode. We're like second episode in, we've jumped 6 months. And I think that's important because it wasn't like the events of episode 1 only happened last week.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of time. Rhaenyra's been kind of estranged from her father during that time.
And Alicent's really been building a bond with him.
Yes, she really has.
Not entirely through her choice. It's more of her dad's asking her to go and do this. It's a duty. But there seems to be a real bond there.
Yeah. Do you know, I wondered about that. I wrote I think I wrote in my notes somewhere that it was the scene just before he announces that he's going to marry her. And no, sorry, I tell a lie. It was the scene when he was talking to Alicent about potentially marrying Rhaenyra.
Yeah.
And I wrote down on that scene, does Alicent have feelings for him? Because I felt prior to that scene that it was duty. She was doing what Daddy told her to do, get close to him. And she knew why her daddy was trying to tell. I just called him her daddy. She knew why her dad was trying to get her to get close to him. She's not a silly girl. She totally understood what her role there was. But she seemed jealous.
You think?
Yeah, I just thought there was this little hint of jealousy. She was saying the right things, but her face was saying something else. It's like, it's a fine match, Your Grace. But she looked sad. And yeah, I started to wonder if there is feelings there as well as duty.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We'll see how it plays out. I can't remember later from obviously my first watch when it was first aired that whether that was the case, but I certainly picked up on it in that one scene, and I'm like, pay attention to this going forward. So did you have any other points that you wanted to make on that? With Rhaenyra and Alicent?
I
do you
think
have any other notes?
Just the points that the relationships that they have with their fathers is quite prominent in this episode.
Yeah.
Rhaenyra's just quite lost.
Definitely.
And looking for her dad to be there for her.
Bless
and
her.
He does want to. You can see he loves his daughter, but his duty as a king.
And his grief.
Yeah.
His own grief and not really knowing how to help her.
Yeah.
Because his guilt.
Yeah.
Yeah. His guilt is probably what's holding him back.
And then there's the other side of the father coin, which is Otto.
Oh, God, yeah.
That guy.
He is something else.
It's one of the parts where he says to Alison, you're the most comely young woman. Oh.
Why do you ruin yourself or something like that when she's picking at her nails?
You horrid, creepy old man. Like, give her a break.
Yeah, there's a lot of responsibility on that girl's shoulders. And I don't think she wants any of it, really.
No, not in the show. She doesn't.
Not at this point.
No.
Maybe later. Maybe later she becomes quite accustomed to being queen. But I don't think at this stage that was her ambition.
No, and I think it's been set up that both the girls are, which I mentioned before, they're both grieving for their mothers at different stages.
Yeah.
And feel that their fathers aren't there for them.
Yes.
Yeah, and their characters, I suppose it's about how they build that resilience.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Because they're very strong characters. They are the main gals.
They certainly
if you will.
are, yeah. They are the leaders of the blacks and the greens, I suppose, aren't they?
Yeah.
I think, we're getting way ahead of ourselves here, but I think the young Aegon is merely a puppet and Alison's really calling all the shots there at that point. Certainly towards the end of this season. I don't know about next season, but in this season, I feel like, it's all Alison. But we're getting way ahead of ourselves. And also with very, very vague memory. I don't remember this stuff well enough to comment on it. I can't wait till we get there again, though. We'll be caught up rather soon. So, was there anything else on that?
Not on that note. I think we've covered the father-daughter issues.
So I suppose one of the main themes of this episode really was succession again, which is always there. But in this case, leaning more towards marriage. We already talked about Rhaenyra's reaction when she discovered that her father was going to marry Alison. But the main topic of conversation throughout the whole episode was Rhaenyra, easy for me to say, Velaryon. So yeah, it was...
which is a weird one from Rhaenyra's point of view, that she's so horrified that it's Alison. There's that 15-year-old selfishness.
Yes.
You know, like your dad was going to marry a 12-year-old, like your 12-year-old cousin.
And you were kind of cool
creepy.
with that.
Yeah, you'd made peace with that one. Oh, come on, girl.
Yeah, that was but it really is just down to, I think, what we said about that bond that she had just formed with Alison, and she felt like she was losing her father and her friend in that moment.
Yeah, don't know what's worse, actually.
Yeah, I have my thoughts on the whole Rhaenyra Velaryon. What's the word I'm looking for? Proposal? No, proposal's not the word. Betrothal. That's the one. Betrothal. So yeah, that's just that scene with that little girl.
Yeah, and she's given her reciting to Viserys what she's been told to say, and he says to her, "Has your father told you to say that?"
Oh, I have that clip actually. Let's play that.
Your Grace, it would be a great honour to join our houses as they were in Old Valyria. I would give you many children of pure Valyrian blood so that we might strengthen the royal line and the realm.
Is that what your father told you to say?
She does sound like she's reciting.
Yeah, she sounds like a little kid.
What did your mother tell you?
That I wouldn't have to bed you until I turned 14.
Oh. Well, that sigh says it all, doesn't it?
It really does. I mean, he's clearly not comfortable with that at all.
No. No, she's 12. His daughter's only a few years older.
Yeah. They had that conversation later with Lionel Strong, in which he says she's 12, and he was like, but she'll grow. And I'm like, I'm not sure that's really the right answer. But
no, that's not the point, dude.
That's not the point. He's not comfortable with, marrying a kid, although Alison's not much older.
I think she's supposed to be about 26 on the timeline there.
Yeah, I think they've mixed that up a little bit, though, for the show. I think that's what I got from the book. But I think for the show, I think they've tried to put her ages with Rhaenyra.
I'm going to tell myself in my head that she's maybe about 20 then.
Right, okay.
I'm going to not
the
go with
difference.
15.
We'll split the difference.
I'm giving Viserys the benefit of the doubt here.
Yeah, okay. But, the thing with Lena is she's just reciting these words that she's been told, and I don't even think she fully understands their meaning. No, I mean it's like going to one of your kids' school plays and hearing them recite something. Yeah, her voice is so childlike, her demeanor is so childlike. She's just a little girl. Oh, she's so cute though. But yeah, it's quite a harrowing scene, to be honest with you. Just a bit of dialogue between two people, but nice to see Viserys actually growing some balls and saying, "No, I'm not going to do it." Yes, he eventually gets to that place. But or is it just because again he's weak and he goes with his heart? Well, there could be something in that actually. Not that that's a weak character trait. I actually think that's a great character trait. Maybe not in those times. Yeah, but in general. In general, yeah. Yeah, following your heart, that's a good way to go. At least, you'll be happy with your choices. Absolutely. Even if they don't pan out, you did it for the right reasons. But I don't think Viserys really knows what the right reasons or right plans are here at this point. His decisions have led to the death of the love of his life. Well, that's got to carry some guilt, doesn't it? He kind of lost his daughter, and he'd said he would rather face dragon fire than talk to his 15-year-old daughter. Oh, I know. He did, didn't he? But I can relate. I have teenagers. Oh, yeah. I can imagine, yeah. Not looking forward to that. Oh, no. So, yeah, even her mother, her mother was like, well, I didn't get the impression when she made the proposal to Viserys that she had a problem with it. Her conversation with Rhaenyra definitely suggests otherwise. Yes, definitely. She's just very much of the accepting what is it she says? I understand the order of things. Yeah. Oh, I have that clip actually. Oh, fab. You're the best.
It bothers you, does it not?
My father is a king. It is his duty to take a new wife and strengthen his line.
I did not ask for a lesson in politics. I asked whether this bothers you.
Rhaenyra is your daughter, Princess. Does it bother you?
Of course it does.
See? It bothers her.
But I understand the order of things. I'm not sure you do.
If you mean to elicit some anger from me, you should know that you're failing, Princess.
Quite the opposite. Whether it's to my daughter or to someone else's, your father will remarry, sooner than late. His new wife will produce new heirs, and chances are better than not that one of those will be male. And when that boy comes of age and your father has passed, the men of the realm will expect him to be heir, not you. Because that is the order of things.
When I'm queen, I will create a new order.
Oh, I wish that could be Rhaenyra.
She scoffs at her
but
like
the men of the realm
girl.
already had their opportunity to appoint a ruling queen at the Great Council, and they denied it.
They denied you, Princess Rhaenys. The queen who never was.
Youthful arrogance.
But they bent the knee to me and called me heir to the throne.
Do you remind your father's men of that as you carry their cups?
in your place.
Here is the hard truth, which no one else has the heart to tell you. Men would sooner put the realm to the torch than see a woman ascend the Iron Throne.
She's probably right there.
And your father is no fool.
No, he is not. So, yeah, that... Do you know what I picked up in that scene? What made me wonder is Rhaenyra seems to have a lot of resentment to Rhaenys. Just the way she's talking to her, clenched teeth and...
I think she's quite arrogant towards her. And Rhaenyra's got a total Visenya vibe. Like, I will change this. I will decide. You didn't. You were in my position and you fucked it, love. So I've no respect for you, and that's it.
Yeah, that is definitely the vibe I'm getting. And I'm just like, I was wondering where it comes from, but it could just be as simple as what you're saying.
Yeah,
just
totally.
The arrogance of youth and feeling like she's one up on her because when it was her, the realm wouldn't accept a woman, but they accepted her.
Yeah.
I don't know if they fully accepted her. I mean, did you see the look on Baratheon and...
Yeah, but again, it is
Stark.
back to that youthful arrogance of,
yeah.
Nah, I won. Well, we'll see. Rhaenys has been around for decades longer.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, she's a bit older.
She's brilliant.
Do you know what, actually, that was something I actually think I meant to mention in the last episode. And it was that moment when they're reading, when they're all swearing their fealty to Rhaenyra. And Baratheon and Stark were both pissed. They were not happy doing it. And I thought about it for a second, and it came to me why. It was because during the Great Council, Baratheon and Stark both backed Rhaenys.
Oh, okay.
And so as far as they were concerned, Rhaenys was the next in line. They didn't care that she was a woman.
Yeah.
That she was just the next in line, and then she was passed over. And yet here they are, a decade later, bending the knee to this woman after they tried to put a woman on the throne already and they didn't get their way. And that must be a bitter pill to swallow.
Yeah.
I can see why they were angry. I do believe we're getting a lot more of the Starks in the next season.
Brilliant.
So I'm looking forward to that, seeing how that plays out. So yeah, the order of things. She's right, isn't she?
She is right, unfortunately. And she's lived it.
She certainly has. So it's like, staying back on the marriage thing, Viserys says to Rhaenyra when they're having that conversation, it's about protecting the line. Yeah, that he has to marry to protect the line from anyone who might decide to take them on.
Yeah, and she says, who?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah. Because we have to be prepared, is basically what he was trying to say. Because as long as people have power, there's always going to be somebody coming after it.
Yeah.
So yeah,
there's a lot of Rhaenyra showing her her inexperience and her impetuousness in this episode.
Very much so, yes. And that scene at the end when she realises that it's Alicent that her dad's going to marry, and not just from her, but the whole room, that scene, there was hardly any dialogue in it at all. I went back to go and clip it because I thought, this is a pivotal moment. And there was nothing to clip. It was all silence.
Yeah.
There was so much, and I love the use of silence there in order to just impact all the emotions that everybody the table was going through.
You really wouldn't have got the full impact of Otto's smug face.
No, definitely.
If there was any dialogue there.
I mean, Otto looked smug. Beesbury and Strong looked shocked.
Yeah.
And they were like, whoa, where did that come from? And of course,
Corlys was fuming.
Oh, he was absolutely raging. Yeah, and who could blame him? Who could blame him, really? He had made a great offer. And it was another chance for him to step closer.
Yeah.
To he's always been power adjacent as opposed to actually having power. I mean, yeah, he's got his own power in his own island and with his fleet of ships and, you know, in that respect, but
he's always just been a ball hair away from that, hasn't he?
Definitely.
Just like, damn, I had the
So
queen that
close.
never was. Set the daughter up. Damn,
So it was
close
first
again.
his wife was nearly queen, and then his son was nearly, or it was considered at least, and then he's like, oh well, I'll try and marry my daughter off to the king. that didn't work either. It's not going well for him, is
this
it?
poor guy.
Oh, I know. But yeah, that was it's certainly powerful stuff. But this marriage was the big theme of this episode, and it was all just a little bit like, he doesn't want to marry anyone. I don't think Lena wants to get married. I don't think Alison wants to get married. Unless she has started to form some sort of feelings for him. But they have spent a lot of time together. They've been hanging out and having their wee private moments for about 6 months.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there is a bond there. And she said, oh, I'm sure she'll enjoy your company as much as I do, Your Grace. And I felt like she meant it.
Yeah.
I don't think she was just feeding him a line there. I felt like she really does enjoy his company. But I don't think that she was expecting... Like, did he even propose to her?
No, I don't think so. Unless it was behind closed doors.
Yeah, you think they would have shown that, though, eh?
Yeah.
I'm feeling like that was the first she heard of it. She was almost as shocked as Rhaenyra.
Poor girl.
Totally. Oh, that's so bad. But yeah, I don't think that was planned. Not on her part, anyway. But then there was that wee moment. I think she felt like because of the look he gave her. He looked at her and I think she thought, oh shit, it's me. But at that same moment that she had that thought, Rhaenyra realised what was going on, and her face was just, it stole the show in that moment for me. Like, I'm watching, what's Alison up to? I'm like watching everybody but Rhaenyra's face just stole the scene as far as I'm concerned. And then she just walked out. And yeah, it was rather tense. But I love the use of silence. It's really, really, really powerful way to make the audience connect with what's going on.
Yeah.
Because you're just sitting there waiting for someone to say something. And in the meantime, all these thoughts are going through your own head. Sometimes I don't think when you're watching TV, you get enough time to think about what you've just heard, but then the next thing happens.
Yeah.
So when a director choice or to use silence, very powerful. It's very clever.
On the subject of Alison and Viserys forming a bond, a really cute wee gift that she gave him was the mended stone dragon.
Yeah.
It was really cute.
It was.
So I think there's something there. You know, she's taking the time to do it. And it wasn't a showy thing that she did in front of people.
No.
It was just this little gesture, which was really cute.
I thought so. And she could see how nervous she was just before she gave him it, because she started picking her nails like she does. And she was really nervous. And then she's like, okay, right, you can do this. She picks up the box. Got you a gift.
Bless her.
I know. She was really sweet. So yeah, I did love that. Speaking of dragons, I don't think there's really much dragon play in this episode for us to have our dragon section, but I did want to just make a little bit of a reference to the conversation with Viserys and Lena when they're talking about Balerion.
Yeah.
And then they talked about Vhagar.
Yeah.
Vhagar is too big for the dragon pit and off nesting somewhere on the narrow sea, occasionally seen by people. I just find that really interesting.
Yeah.
Vhagar's off doing her thing. She's wild. Really interesting to see what's going on there.
Yeah.
I'd like to be a little fly on the wall, seeing what Vhagar gets up to on your average Tuesday afternoon.
Just minding her business.
Stealing sheep.
Yep.
Hey, maybe sheep stealers isn't real. Maybe it was just Vhagar.
Yeah, she's got an alias.
Yeah, that's it. So, I mean, suppose we've played out the whole marriage storyline.
Yeah, and
which was a huge part of the episode.
It was, but the title of the episode is The Rogue Prince.
It
so
was.
Let's have a chat about this Rogue Prince.
Well, I wrote The Prince of Dragonstone.
Yep.
Because I felt like that was really important. What he's doing there, declaring himself Prince of Dragonstone, it's a direct fuck you to Otto from last week.
Yeah.
When Otto was talking about him being Maegor reborn and all those kind of things. And he was listening to that conversation. He was eavesdropping on that. And then he's went, Maegor, Emma? I'll fucking show you Maegor. Maegor, should I say. And off he's went to Dragonstone. He's taking these gold cloaks with him. The reason I wanted to bring up Maegor in this was because Maegor was the first Prince of Dragonstone.
And he also had a lady from overseas.
Yes.
That was a wife of his.
Yes.
And Daemon says, I'm taking Rhaenyra as my second wife, as in keeping with Targaryen traditions. So
exactly.
Yeah.
So that's so back when Maegor and Aenys were the sons of Aegon the Conqueror, Maegor spent a lot of time on Dragonstone. And it wasn't a title that he gave himself. It was a title that people started calling him the Prince of Dragonstone. And so it was just the name stuck. I don't think the Prince of Dragonstone became a proper title until after that.
Yeah.
So it was the next generation that it was whoever was the Crown Prince was titled Prince of Dragonstone. But he was very much trying to go, you want Maegor? You've got Maegor. That's what he'd done by moving to Dragonstone. That's what he's done by taking a second wife. He's a bad man. And he just loves to fuck with all.
Yeah. Because he can see through him. He can see through the ambition of him.
Yes. So yeah, I mean, he steals this egg. And
not just any egg,
Not just any egg, no.
Baby Balon's egg.
I know. Dreamfires. And that moment when Rhaenyra asked the Dragon Keeper.
Oh yeah, at the small council.
Which egg was it? Mm-hmm. She was so angry and so hurt.
Yeah.
Because she knew this was a direct attack. And you notice after that, Viserys had no hesitation. He's like, right, I'm going to fucking Dragonstone myself.
Yeah.
I wrote here that I don't understand. I hate when that happens.
I love that, actually. I laugh when I keep my notes very brief.
Yeah, I've wrote this thing. Westerlin said it was a mummer's farce.
Oh.
What was that?
That's when they arrive at Dragonstone and they're all on the bridge bit.
Oh yes.
And he says to Daemon, "What are you doing? Essentially,
that's it.
It's treasonous. It's a mummer's farce."
And it's Westerling's face. He's like, "Oh no, here we go. This is going to turn into a fight." And then there was the other moment as well when Otto says to Daemon, "You'll never survive this." And Daemon's like, "Well, thankfully, neither will you."
Yeah.
And again, Westerling's face in that moment, he's like, "Oh no, this is all going to kick off any minute."
I don't think you have a clip of this.
I do actually. I don't honestly think that Harold Westerling even had a line in this episode.
Just his facial expressions were enough.
Were brilliant. You could barely even see it because he had that helmet on. But it was just enough for you to see him going, "Oh fuck, here it comes." Right, I'm going to play the clip.
Welcome to Dragonstone, Otto.
Your occupation of this island is at an end. You're to relinquish the dragon's egg, disband your army, banish your whore, and leave Dragonstone by order of His Grace King Viserys.
Where is the king? I don't see him.
His Grace would never lower himself to entertain such a mummer's farce.
There it is, that moment.
Sir Crispin, wasn't it?
Sir Crispin Cole, my prince.
Ah, yes, apologies. I couldn't recall.
Perhaps my prince recalls when I knocked him off his horse.
Touché.
Very good.
This is a truly pathetic show, Damon. Are you so desperate for the king's attention that you've resorted to skulking about like a common cutpurse?
I'm simply keeping with the traditions of my house, the same as my brother did for his heir.
Those traditions are for the true-born children of royalty, not for bastards fathered on a common whore.
Lady Missaria is to be my wife.
She's standing
This is an
right
abomination.
there.
With every breath you soil your name, your house, and your brother's reign.
Our love does not know titles and traditions.
Oh, he's full of shit.
And what of you, men of the City Watch? Aiding the prince in his treason?
The king made me their commander. They are loyal to me. You've come for the egg. Here it is.
Are you mad? You'd never survived this.
Well, happily, neither would you.
To choose violence here is to declare war against your king.
Wonderful.
Even if it ends in the death of your unborn child and its mother.
There you go, the use of silence again, eh?
Yeah.
Oh. Do not fuck with Caraxes.
All of you, sheathe the fucking steel.
Oh, we've just hit every funny line from the whole episode.
I think that might be my favourite line of the whole episode.
Yeah, big time. He delivered it so well. All of you, sheathe the fucking steel.
Brilliant.
Absolutely brilliant. But yeah, he yeah, that scene had like every funny line from the episode in it. There was just, there's one other actually, is when Rhaenyra arrives and they're like, take the princess away from here. And she's like, careful not to piss off Cyrax. She's very protective of me. But again, all of those lines were dealt through gritty teeth, except Sir Crispin, is it? That one had a smile.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a really, really, really powerful scene. And of course, Rhaenyra, when she arrives, she is not happy. But did you see Daemon change instantly when she arrived?
I love that the whole thing is in High Valyrian.
Yes.
So they are having this conversation in front of both sides, all these men, swords and all, and they're having this conversation just between the two of them.
Yes.
No one else, no, well,
I don't think any of the rest of them speak High Valyrian.
apart from the Dragon Keepers, but I don't think they're there
No, I
at
don't
that
think
point.
they're
It's literally just your sort of military
Yeah, you're just your
fellows that are
average
there.
Joes and
Yeah.
a couple of council members. And yeah, it's a very private conversation, but still very public.
It is, but for those of us that don't speak High Valyrian, essentially what she said is, well, in Scottish, "Mon then, shite bag if you didn't." And then he lobs the egg at her. Brilliant!
That is so true. That is exactly what he said.
Yeah.
She said, should I say? Oh, brilliant. Let's talk about Caraxes for a second, though. Oh, that was quite an entrance.
Yes, that roar.
Oh,
You could just imagine if you were there, it would just heat your armour up, even just the roar on its own.
Yeah.
The hairs would be standing up all over your body. Your
you'd feel
eyeballs
the
would be dry,
vibrations
lips
and,
stuck to your teeth. Like, oh, God.
Oh, so true. But yeah, it was very much an entrance, and it was. It's like they talk about this connection between the dragon and the rider, and I just believe that Caraxes knew in the moment, it's time for my big entrance.
Yeah. I love when you see the clouds move at first.
Yes.
And then it's just dragon.
Yes. And speaking of that as well, when Rhaenyra arrives on Cyrax, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
It's and do you know, during this scene, I actually wrote in my wee section about visuals, and I wrote, Dragonstone mist, fuck off. I really want to see Dragonstone, and there was just so much mist around.
Yeah.
And I was not getting a good view, although it was still quite stunning to look at. But that moment when Rhaenyra and Cyrax, you hear them first, and then you just see the clouds moving as if it was like something swimming through water.
Yeah.
Before she bursts out. Now, I thought Caraxes made a fabulous entrance, but Cyrax was there to show up. And it was really quite impressive. I really did quite love that scene. It was very, very tense, the whole thing. You're just waiting that whole time for just something to kick off.
Yeah, imagine being one of those wee soldiers at the back.
Yeah.
Oh, shit, there's 2 dragons.
They're like literally trapped between 2 dragons.
Yeah.
I love how Rhaenyra lands behind them.
Came here for a sword fight, now there's 2 bloody dragons.
Brought a sword to a dragon fight.
Yeah.
That's it. Oh dear. But yeah, the visuals of Dragonstone were, a little clouded by that mist, but now I understand why.
Yeah, it needed to be there for effect.
So Rhaenyra could sneak up on them.
Yeah.
So it was a surprise when she finally appeared. It's a good direction choice, if you ask me. But did you have any other notes on that scene?
No, that was me.
What else have I got here? Yeah, just like what I was saying about Daemon's face changing when Rhaenyra showed up. She hadn't even landed her dragon yet. It was the second he saw her, before they had the conversation, his whole demeanour, his body language, everything, that smirk was wiped off his face instantly. There's definitely, there's something between them, and it's not just the creepy uncle thing that we were picking up on in the last episode. There's definitely a bond between them that's very strong.
Absolutely, and he's another one that's, in this episode, betrayed her.
Yeah.
By taking that egg.
Yeah.
That egg in particular.
Yeah, that really hurt her. She chose that egg.
Yeah.
That was her choice. She chose it because it reminded her of Vhagar, and she wanted the babe to be called Visenya, which is cute. So what else? Missaria in that scene.
Yeah.
I felt for her.
I'm awkward.
She was a pawn, and she was completely unaware until things were said. And she's like, wait a minute. We're getting married, are we? I'm having a baby, am I?
Yeah.
She makes that comment in the scene afterwards where she says that she made sure, I can't remember the exact words, but she said she made sure a long time ago that she would never be burdened by childbirth.
Oh, yes, here's another funny line, isn't it?
Yeah. And and that's when Daemon says to her that it's like, oh, well, that's good then, because children can be such irritable creatures. But I the first time I watched it, I was just laughing at Daemon's response. Afterwards, it was maybe my second or third watch, the third watch when I was getting the clips. That's when I noticed that, it's not that I noticed something new, it's that I thought about it. And I thought, what are you doing? Like some back alley hysterectomy or something? Like, well, how can you have made sure that you will never be burdened by childbirth? I don't think there's any pills kicking around in those days.
No, however, to go back to the book just for a second.
Okay, let's do that.
Like she's called the White Worm.
Right.
And she's quite a mysterious sort of character, and there's
maybe some magics involved
possibly
there.
Yeah,
right.
Possibly.
Okay. I haven't read that far into the book. I don't want it to spoil it.
No, it won't spoil it. But no, I don't. There's no. Yeah.
Yeah.
She's just made that. Is it just the superstition of a foreigner? Also.
Yeah, could be.
It's yeah.
But yeah, definitely, I felt for her, but I was really proud of her and the way she stood up to Damon, and she was like, you can't use me as a pawn like this. I can't afford to be caught up in the middle of this drama.
No, she came there for freedom.
Yeah, and he's put her back in a cage, basically. So that was
She's quite sad. She said that she'd lived a life of suffering, torment. Yeah. Probably both, to be honest. But I can't remember her exact words. But yeah, she comes across as, look, dude, I've been through enough. Don't drag me into your shit. It's all right for you.
Bought and sold more times than she could count.
Yeah.
For longer than she could even remember.
And he's born into a family where he can just gob off whenever he likes.
Yeah.
So please don't drag me into your drama.
Take your Targaryen privilege somewhere else. Absolutely. Because that's what it is. It's privilege that made him play that out the way he did. That made him send that letter saying, come to my wedding. And, he hadn't even proposed. There's a lot of that going on in this episode,
Yeah.
Men just going, I'm having a wife. I forgot to ask her, though.
Not cool, guys.
Not cool at all. So, yeah, I'm just having do
you have any other notes? Anything else about that episode that stood out for you?
Well, the end, really, was the alliance between Corlys and Daemon.
Did you see that coming?
No, I didn't. Not the first time I watched it.
Me neither. I didn't see it coming either. I felt like it was a slightly desperate play on both behalves.
Yes. But then Corlys says that line, and it's like we're the second sons.
Yeah. Yeah, and he's right.
It's like we've got to make our own destiny, I suppose. But yeah, the scene, I didn't see it coming, but once I saw it, it made complete sense.
Yeah.
And again, it comes back to something I was saying last week about Corlys, how he's just sitting back and playing it cool. And this is the first time he showed his hand. This is the first time he's actually let go what he really thinks. He made a couple of digs about Viserys as well.
He did, and Damon was not happy.
No, and again, it's one of those lines that's funny, but it wasn't delivered in a funny way.
No.
It was I shall speak about my brother however I want. You will not.
And it's funny because I've actually said those words. People have slagged my own brother off. Like, wait a minute, I can slag him off. Don't join in.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. But yeah, I like that. That's the loyalty there, isn't it? He's angry, and
he basically said to Corlys, "My brother's a shit king."
Yeah, and did you see Corlys's face when he said it? Corlys is like, "All right, we're going down that road, are we?"
Yeah.
So then he tried to get his 10 pence worth in, and Damon's like, "No, I can say that. You can't." I like that. It was really cool. But yeah, so the alliance between Corlys and Daemon is it's very, very interesting. But it's not against the crown or anything like that. It's just
making their own way, making their stamp, because they've been cut off.
Yeah,
essentially the avenue that they've tried. So let's try someone else.
Let's do it our own way. And this is a wise move on Corlys's part. He knows that this crab feeder's coming for him eventually. He's right in his path. Driftmark is precarious, precariously positioned.
Well, he's already taken down one of Corlys's ships.
Yeah.
So,
well, that's it.
Corlys is like, right.
What was the quote he said in the small council meeting at the beginning? He bursts in all pissed off. They've taken it out. That's 4 ships they've got on, and one of them had my flag on it. Not impressing. He's the stepstones have turned into a conflagration. And I had to go and look it up because I was like, I'm usually like a walking dictionary, but I'm like, I do not know this word. So a conflagration is an extensive fire which destroys a great deal of land or property. I'm like, okay, well, it's not quite a literal fire, but yeah, conflagration was a good word to use there. But yeah, he just wants He just wants this guy dealt with, and no one is listening to him, that they have to deal with it. As far as the rest of the small council are concerned, fighting this crab feeder is going to be kicking off a war with Essos.
Yeah.
Because Essos funds these pirates. I don't think it's quite as straightforward as that, but those are the ports that they go home to.
Yeah.
After they've done their raiding and pirating, they go back to their home cities, the free cities, and that's where they spend their money. So there is a slight risk that they might have some backup in Essos, Pentos or Volantis or any of these places that could backfire on Westeros. But personally, I think they're just being pussies.
Yeah, I think they're far too focused on setting up little girls to get married to old men. And this crab feeder's just sneaking in. And Corlys is like, hello.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk about the crab feeder for a second.
Oh my God, that opening scene.
Oh, it's...
Those nasty little flesh-eating crabs. Ah!
I've had that nightmare. I'm telling
So
you.
disgusting.
That's horrible.
So horrible.
And you see them, like, some of them are dead already. That are lying there. They're just corpses. And
there's the man that's half dead in the beginning. And he's like,
writhing about. And
he's covered in these horrible little fleshy
God,
fuckers.
it's awful.
I'm actually itchy.
Yeah, so I'm like scratching away here as we're talking about it. It gives me the heebie-jeebies. It's really, really gross, but very effective in making you think that this guy is a bad, bad man.
It's very clever to open the show with it and close the show with it.
Yeah, I thought that was clever.
It's clever that it sandwiches all of this marriage bump and all the relationship stuff that they're focusing on in the middle.
Yeah.
But yet at either end, this crab feeder is closing in and they're just not paying attention.
Yeah. And they're setting us up for what I said was the scene I'm most likely to see, would most like to see again. Which is Daemon fighting those pirates.
Yeah.
And that's where we've been set up for that. I think that's the next episode.
Oh, is it?
I think so, yeah. If it's not the next one, it's the one after. Do you know what? I'm going to take back what I said in our introduction when I originally said that it took till that fight with the pirates for me to really appreciate Matt Smith in the role.
Mm-hmm.
I've loved him from scene one this time round.
I think he's hilarious.
Oh, he's brilliant. And I just wasn't sure about him the first time I watched this, and that scene sold it for me. But this rewatch, right from the first time he opened his mouth, and 9 times out of 10 there's a smirk on his face.
Yeah.
And I just think he's brilliant. He's very entertaining. He's a bad man. He's a bad man. But he's not, I don't think he's as bad as people make him out to be. I think he plays up to what people think of him.
Yeah.
So he's got this reputation, and then he plays up to it, which reinforces that reputation. So then he plays up to that even more. And, it's just, he's actually a fairly decent guy. It's just...
To a certain extent, he's kind of lost his identity because he was the heir.
Yes.
And now that's been taken away. So there's that whole... well, where do I fit now?
Sounds like another royal in today's society. I'm getting definite Prince Harry vibes off of that there. Where do I fit in? And I think that's it. I think that throughout history, this is a common thing with second sons. Like we talked a lot about Henry VIII before. He was a second son, and I think
it's like middle child vibe.
Yeah, definitely. So you've got this comparison between Aenys and Maegor, and you've got the heir and the spare, you know, and the heir being the weaker of the two.
Mm-hmm.
And then I feel like this is reflected again between Viserys and Daemon. I don't think Viserys is weak, but he's not the warrior that Daemon is.
No. However, if they worked together
Mm-hmm. But that's maybe why Daemon should maybe be hanged. I don't know if that was ever something that was raised. It's certainly not so. Like, was that ever raised in the book? The idea of Daemon being heir.
I honestly can't remember.
Interesting. But yeah, I definitely get this. This very lost vibe from him. He doesn't know where he fits in, and so he's just going to live up to or live down to the expectations of.
Yeah, I mean, he hasn't even found love. He's been married off to the bronze bitch.
Is that what we're calling her now?
That's what he calls her.
Yeah. Has she got a name? I mean, is she
an Aaron?
I think she's an Aaron.
I think she is an Aaron. But yeah, that's what he calls her.
Yeah.
And then he I'm just going to go back to the book. But
I'm going to look that up.
Mycelia, he did actually love in the book.
Yeah. Right. Oh, like I said, I never really got that. I mean, she's there in the last chapter out, which is just before Viserys dies.
Yeah.
She's definitely there, and I got that vibe, but I don't read any further, so I don't know how that relationship evolves.
I'm not going to spoil
But you felt
anything.
like that he loved her.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I've got this now. So his wife is Lady Rhea, is the heir of Lord Yorbert Royce.
Right, she's a Royce.
So she is from the Vale, but not an Arryn. So the Royces are a very prominent family in the Vale.
They are, but he hasn't found a match he hasn't been matched with someone
love.
that he loves, which
No.
it must be really sad.
Yeah, everyone craves love, no matter how tough or hard or anything you want to appear. Deep down, that's what everyone wants, isn't it?
Yeah.
And he's not managed to find that, and that's sad for him. But I mean, if he wants to settle down with someone that he loves, he should maybe stop pissing Mysaria off. Because she was not happy with him in this episode. No.
I don't think, as far as I remember from watching it the first time round, I don't think that she comes to much in the series. We'll find out next episode.
Yeah, I can't remember. So, have you got any other notes?
The only other thing I had was a very brief moment, and there's this little bowl of, it'll be little leeches or something, and Viserys' pinky.
Oh, it's maggots, yeah.
Is almost gone. So yeah, it's how his illness is progressing. We see little bits in each episode of how, so it started off the little cut on his back, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And now he's kind of almost.
Well, we saw him cut that on the throne, remember?
Yeah.
The blood kind of dripped down and everything. We saw him cut it. So what it is, it's like when he's cutting himself, it's not healing.
Uh-huh.
Do you know that quite a common thing throughout European royal families is haemophilia? It comes a lot down to the inbreeding, to be honest with you. It's quite a common thing. So it's like when they get hurt or cut or bruised or it doesn't heal properly.
Yeah.
Excessive bleeding and stuff like that. And I'm wondering if that's what they're kind of trying to portray here with the series, is that because of the incest and things like that this is a genetic weakness.
Speaking of royal incest and genetics,
okay,
this is way off on a tangent, but I seen it this week. I think it was some history thing. Anyway, have you ever heard of the Habsburgs?
Yes.
And their chin.
Oh yeah,
so it's Habsburg's jaw.
Habsburg jawline.
They're Austrian, I think, but they or maybe they were Spanish. I don't know. It's irrelevant.
No,
anyway.
the Spanish does come into it. There was a lot of marriage between the Habsburgs.
It made me think about the Targaryens.
Yes.
And I thought, with all their inbreeding, George has still written them as incredibly beautiful.
Yes.
When actually that wouldn't be true. There would be a lot of deformities, and it was just when I saw the thing with the jaw, and I thought that would have been really hard to cast.
I'm sorry, I just start wetting myself here. Right, so sorry to go off on another tangent from that, but you'll see the point. So I've been binge watching Cobra Kai recently. And you remember the sensei from the first Karate Kid movie, John Kreese, right? So he goes to try and recruit the sensei from Karate Kid 3.
Oh, that guy.
Yeah. So he goes to recruit him, and they're at this like fancy, he's got this big fancy house and all these posh people around him and everything. And this guy turns around to John Kreese and he's like, "You have a Habsburg jawline." And it's like he's saying it in the nicest way, but you know it's not, it's an insult.
Yeah.
He's basically that's what you just make me. So sorry, I can't even speak now. I just find it flashing back, and I just find it so funny. But yeah, any other notes?
No, that was it.
I've got a few, not many. So just a minor role. So at the Dragonstone, there's this seat at the table that's higher than all the other seats. And I remember it made me think about something I'd remembered from when I was reading one of the many books I did prepping for this. But that seat is positioned right next to Dragonstone on the map.
Oh, right. Okay.
So it's the Targaryen, the ruling Targaryen can sit there and view Westeros from the perspective of Dragonstone. I just thought it was really cool.
Yeah, that is cool.
I just thought I had to mention that because I was just like, it was one of those things. I was like, I like that fact. I have to share that fact. So that was one of them. The other note that I have here was just, I took note of the fact that the Velaryons are the wealthiest family in the realm. And we know that that's not always the case. But, you know, I'm wondering if the Lannisters surpassed them, or if they just became one of the welfare families in the realm because the Velaryons are no longer around.
Yeah.
You know.
So it's sort of like second place.
Yeah, that sort of thing. What I do know is I don't know how the Dance of the Dragons plays out completely. I've got a funny feeling they're not going to be around by the end of it. I don't know that though. But what I do know is there are no Velaryons in Dunk and Egg.
Right, okay.
And so that's about 80 years later. So I do know that much. I'm sitting here saying, I don't know, and you probably do know, because you've read the book all the way through, but you're not going to spoil. So, and the only other one I've got here is the Cool Cauldron.
Oh, which Cool Cauldron?
That Rhaenyra puts the dragon egg back into. So yeah, I just thought that was really, really cleverly cool. I love that, you know, this dragon egg has to go, you know, a bed of coals. I thought it was awesome.
I have a little Japanese teapot that looks similar, actually.
Ah, cool.
Cast iron.
Awesome.
And I was like, oh, that looks like my teapot. Minus the spout.
Excellent. I'm starting to lose my chain of thought here now. I feel like we're running out of things to talk about here on this. So, actually, just leading on from your...
I mean, what we've got left is the news and our RIP section.
Oh, yeah. Before we get to that, though, I have one more clip.
Oh, cool.
Which was from that scene that you were just talking about with the maggots. It's the conversation that follows on afterwards.
Oh, brilliant.
So I thought this scene was really cool because not only does it show what a manipulative bastard the old Hightower is, but it also shows him as being kind of human in the same scene.
Wow.
And I think it's one of those rare moments that has to be documented.
Yeah.
I held an audience earlier today with Lord Corlys and Princess Rhaenys.
That was most charitable of you, Your Grace. I'm sure Lord Corlys appreciated the spirit of it.
He proposed a marriage.
To whom? Your Grace?
The Lady Rhaenyra. To combine the strength of our houses and demonstrate my reign's strongest days are ahead, not behind.
Lord Corlys has overreached, Your Grace.
See,
Such
manipulate
matters
him.
must be discussed
Jealous.
with a small council.
That is what I'm doing, presently. So, what is your advice, dear Otto?
The Lady Rhaenyra is young, Your Grace.
Indeed, but the wounds made by the Great Council still linger, my king. A match with their daughter would go a long way towards sealing the breach. And uniting the two great Valyrian houses would certainly signal unity throughout the realm and beyond.
The Grand Maester's reasoning is sound.
I do fear what Rhaenyra might think.
What does it matter, Your Grace? Her mother has passed. Her father must propagate the royal line.
I dearly loved my own lady wife. The pain of her passing still haunts me. And to be compelled to replace her for duty's sake. You are the king, but I do not envy you.
And there we have Otto Hightower has a heart.
I don't know. I thought that when I started to play the clip, and now when I re-listen to it and I'm just hearing him talk, I'm starting to wonder if the whole thing
was just a big manipulation.
Was a manipulation, yeah. He even sinking his low as to using the memory of his dead wife to...
No, I would like to believe that bit's genuine, because I think we have to remember that Otto Hightower was a stand-up guy in his day.
Yeah.
Before his wife died. He was hand to Jaehaerys. He was a good guy, but...
Things change.
They do.
I think he just wants what's best for his daughter. And he sees that connection to Viserys as a way of securing her future and the legacy of his own family.
He's an ambitious man.
Yes. He's another second son.
Yeah.
That's it says they've got to carve out their own futures, as I think was that Corlys said. Got to make their own destiny. And I think that's what he's trying to do with Alicent. But I think he's forgetting that she's a person, not just a pawn in his little game.
Well, that's the theme of it, isn't it? Women are duty bound to be pawns.
Mm-hmm. The order of things.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that's it. I've got no other notes. No, nothing else.
I'm done with notes.
Okay, so R.I.P.
Well, we only have one R.I.P. this week, and it's right at the beginning of this episode, and it's Sir Brian Redwyn, Lord Commander of the Kingsguard, passed gently in his sleep, the greatest knight of his generation.
I could not have put it better myself. And that's all we know about him.
Yeah.
And that's enough. He deserves a mention.
He does.
He does. I don't think did we see him in the first episode?
I don't remember.
I don't think we did. I mean, it sounds like he was old and frail. Anyway, so
I wonder if he was maybe at Jaehaerys Council, maybe in that scene.
Yeah, he probably would have been there, because that's like 11 years before episode 1.
Yeah.
So he probably would have been one of the guards that was standing around in that scene.
Yeah.
But by the time we've reached episode 1, he's maybe just not around anymore. But he said, I'd be intrigued to go back and watch the episode again. Next time I have a rewatch, I will look out for it and see if he was mentioned. I'll probably have forgotten by then. But while I don't remember seeing him, I'm very sad to hear of his passing. And it leaves a space open for a new member of the Kingsguard.
It does.
It certainly does. Oh, we actually never really talked about that scene very much. When Rhaenyra's selecting the new Kingsguard member.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, actually.
Sir Aemon was knighted at 8 and 10.
Do any of these knights have combat experience?
Beyond capturing poachers.
Sir Criston Cole. Son of the steward of the Lord of Blackhaven.
Be welcome, Sir Criston. You saw combat in the Stormlands.
Dornish marches, Princess. I fought for a year as a foot soldier against the Dornish incursions. Sir Arlen Dondarrion knighted me after we raised 2 of the watchtowers along the Boneway.
I choose Sir Criston Cole.
I love that she was just not entertaining from the start. She's like, you're going, this guy was, he captured a couple of poachers, and she's rolling her eyes.
Yeah.
And she's like, we're talking about the Kingsguard here, not the front gate guard.
Yeah, this person has to protect my father, and they haven't been in any combat situation whatsoever.
Yeah. And I was just like, is there anyone here that isn't just like, a poacher catcher? Anyone with actual combat experience? Yeah. Enter Criston Cole. And I love that she was just like, so you've been in real fights then? Right, okay, you're hired. There was just, she didn't even wait to hear if there was anybody else. She was just like, nope, it's you. And I think that's because she's got a little crush on him. As well, but he was more than qualified for the job.
Absolutely, he wasn't favoured though.
No, definitely not.
And once again, one of her decisions that she's made, however, a really good decision, is just like, Rhaenyra's off on one again.
Oh, I know, she has been.
It's so unfair. If she was a prince.
Mm-hmm.
They would have said, oh, look at this wonderful decision the prince has made. And
yeah.
But it's like, Rhaenyra
that's what
picks
she
him.
said to Alison in the Sept as well. I wish he would see me as more than just a little girl.
Yeah.
Because she is so much more than that. She's wise, and she is wise beyond her years, and she's insightful. Like, she was the one that figured out which egg did he take. It wasn't just
she made a good point and said, I went when her dad was giving her a ticking off. She said, well, I went and I solved it without any bloodshed.
Exactly.
So,
something that I'm not sure Otto could have managed by himself. And she was right.
Yeah. They
They were swords drawn before she showed up.
Oh, yeah. They were having a right pissing contest. There was a stalemate that was only going to end in bloodshed. Daemon wasn't going to just hand that egg over to them. He wanted them to come and take it. Yeah.
So you would have an excuse to beat the crap out of them, at the very least. And that's why Harold Westerling was like shaking his head going, oh no, this is going to go downhill really fast. But yeah, that thing with Rhaenyra, she's smart and she's wise and she's insightful, and people just don't see it because she's a girl.
Yeah.
And that's what Rhaenys was trying to tell her. And however wrong it is what it is.
Yeah.
And it pisses me off as a, independent woman. But as somebody that watches a lot of period dramas, as well as fantasy and things like that, where there's a lot of hierarchy going on and oppressed women. And it is what it is. I think on this subject, as much as I want to be on Rhaenyra's side, I want to. It's not that they're taking sides, I suppose. If you look at her conversation with Rhaenys as two sides to an argument,
yeah,
I want to side with Rhaenyra But the pragmatic side of me sees it the way Rhaenys does.
Yeah.
It just is what it is. But I suppose there's only people that are willing to look past that and break away from it that could possibly ever make change. The only way that's ever going to change is if someone like Rhaenyra stands up and says, no, I am a worthy ruler. You will listen to me. And I think the first time we ever see that in this world is 170 odd years later with both Daenerys and Cersei Lannister.
Yeah.
And then even Sansa at the end.
Yeah.
But yeah, it takes a long time, a long time before women are even considered.
Not in Dorne.
Not in Dorne, though. Not in Dorne. We do love the Dornish. We want more Dornish. Kristen Cole's Dornish, isn't he?
I think so.
Yeah, I think he's Dornish. But I don't think Dorne really come into the fold for another couple of decades.
We're not going to have a Dornish spin-off?
Oh, I think we might get quite a bit of Dorne and Dunk and Egg.
Cool.
I know from like the first book, from the first novella to the second novella, there's like a 2-year time jump. And in that, at the beginning of the second novella, Dunk is talking about time that they spent in Dorne during that 2-year period.
Okay.
And I feel like the only way this TV show can work is if they make it kind of continuous. They don't do the 2-year time jump and they kind of fill in the gaps.
Well, they didn't do it in this season.
No, they didn't do it there. But I'm thinking with the Dunk, it depends. But it depends if they're going to do this Dunk and Egg thing as Dunk and Egg travelling around the countryside of Westeros, entering tourneys and offering their service to lords and things like that. Or if they're working through the whole story of Aegon Egg's life.
Maybe.
To the point where he becomes king. Because right now he's just a little boy who's squiring for this hedge knight and he doesn't ever believe that he'll be king. The likelihood of him ever being king is very low, which is why he's known as Aegon the Unlikely.
Right.
So the chances of him ever becoming king, so he's just travelling around the countryside offering their services, and it very much reminds me of Brienne and Pod.
Oh,
that kind of relationship. And I think that would be a really, really, really cool wee show to just see them one, in a couple of episodes with one house, and then they move on to the next place, and then there's wee stories unfold, and it could go on for ages.
Yeah, they could totally do it like a Murder, She Wrote vibe.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I was thinking. Very much like that. Or they could do those massive time jumps and take you to the time where he eventually becomes king and the events that unfold throughout his life. So who knows? We'll have to wait and see, but it's coming soon. So I'm excited. But yeah, we will get some Dornish scenes in there, hopefully. That'll be cool. So what's left? The news. Emma, what news have you got?
Well, I've only got one piece of news, actually, because looking at the news over the last week, it's all been a bit samey because it's all focused on the trailers.
Yes.
For season 2 coming out.
Yes, and there's 6 of them now?
Yeah, and it's not really news. It's just watch the trailer.
It's speculation.
It is, yeah.
So what did you get that was actual news?
The only bit of sort of tangible news that I got, and I mean, this happened last year. However, it is important to the upcoming season. And it's that Miguel Sapochnik is stepping down.
Mm-hmm.
So according to The Hollywood Reporter, sources say that Sapochnik is exiting the show after pouring an exhausting 3 years of effort into the Game of Thrones prequel. Ryan Condal will now be House of Dragon's sole showrunner, which we know, and will closely work with George Martin.
Right.
Working within the Thrones universe for the past few years has been an honour and a privilege, especially spending the last 2 with the amazing cast and crew of House of the Dragon. Sapochnik said in a statement, "I'm so proud of what we've accomplished with Season 1 and overjoyed by the enthusiastic reaction of our viewers. It was incredibly tough to decide to move on, but I now know that it's the right choice for me, personally and professionally. As I do so, though, I am deeply comforted to know that Alan will be joining the series. He's someone I've known and respected for a long time, and I believe this precious series could not be in safer hands. I'm so glad to remain a part of the HBO and House of the Dragon family, and of course, I wish Ryan and his team success and all the best with season 2 and beyond.
Oh, that's lovely.
That is lovely. I think that it'll be a loss.
It will.
However, he's still going to be a part of it. So
yeah, that's good. Yeah, I mean, Ryan Condal has done a great job so far, and I'm sure he will continue to do so.
Yeah, absolutely.
The stuff about his wife, though, I mean, I can hardly, if that is true, I mean, it sounds like gossip to me, but if that is the way it went down, then, you know, loyalty, I can't blame them for stepping down if they're like, no.
Yeah.
So
it's one of those weeks where there's not a lot of news.
No.
But it's
one of those weeks in general. There wasn't a lot of dragons. There wasn't a lot of laughs.
But we still found them.
We did find them, definitely. And sometimes you just got to dig a little bit deeper. And sometimes you just got to have a bottle of wine and be like Tyrion. I drink and I know things.
That's it, yeah.
That's it. So that brings us to the end of our show, I suppose. That's where I have nothing left to add, do you?
Yeah, no, we've covered it all.
We'll be back next time with the 3rd episode of season 1, titled Second of His Name. Well, thanks for listening, guys.
If you want to contact us, you can head over to our website, theunrealhour.com, where you can find links to our Facebook page and Patreon to review, like, follow and subscribe. You can also leave us a voice message that we may use on the show. Finally, you can email us at listenerzone@theunrealhour.com.
If you like what we're doing here and you want to support the show, then you can visit patreon.com/theunrealhour, where you can subscribe for ad-free listening, early access episodes and exclusive content. If you don't want to commit to a monthly subscription, then you can buy us a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/theunrealhour. All your donations will go back into the show to cover costs and keep the lights on. Once again, thanks for listening. Until next time,
keep it unreal.